Never mind. And all of a sudden,
gonna
another car
record you.
goes by.
Uh-huh.
Single headlight. She was a diddle. I looked at her kind of like, oh, what did
Yeah. What'd you miss?
what was that? And then she said, well, when a car goes by that has one headlight and the guy's on the ball, she says, diddle, he can kiss her. I says, oh, well, then I owe you 3 kisses.
It's a kissing game. I never knew that.
I was so simple. I was so simple. Boy. I thought she was taking my tonsils out. I didn't know what she was doing. I was fighting for my life. I was trying to push her away. I couldn't breathe. And I whistled all the way home. Are you a doctor too?
No.
Almost?
No, I'm a nurse.
Well, that's all right. You could be a doctor.
Okay. So
A
here's
couple
the
weeks
story.
had gone by, and I was downstairs in the church, and I saw Jim up in the balcony. He had his family sitting in the balcony. And I thought, I got to see Jim, see how he's doing.
Yeah.
And so after service was over, I went looking for Jim, and I walked upstairs, people all coming down, and I walked across the balcony. Nobody there. Everybody's gone, and I thought, well, he could have seen one. He could have got out the back door.
Mm-hmm.
Probably that's what he did. Well, I better go down and check. Well, anyway, as I was walking back across the balcony, I heard a gentleman crying. He was flat on his face on the bottom of the balcony in the front there, and he was just, and I felt like I was intruding.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Lord, this company, Amtech, I put everything I've got into it. If you're not involved in it, I don't want it to go. Please stop me now.
Yeah.
And I thought, I want to work for him. So after I went downstairs and waited for him, he walked over to me. He had cleaned himself up a little bit to see where he splashed some water on his face to get rid of the marks on his eyes. And he says, hey, Lance, he says, I've been wanting to talk to you. I said, I've been wanting to talk to you. He says, I'm looking for a salesman. I said, I'm looking for a job. He said, when do you start? How about tomorrow? It's Monday. He says, really? I says, yeah, I'm ready. Number 1, Pat. Lance is working for you? Yeah. Good. I went over to the company. Didn't know anybody there. Just knew the guy went to church there. And I asked to see this gentleman. I asked the lady, I said, I don't have an appointment. You don't see anybody but by appointment. So I said, well, I'm sorry. I don't have an appointment. She said, well, let me try.
Right.
So she called upstairs, and he said, send him up. So I went upstairs, and Rick said, he says, Lance, I only see people by appointment. I said, well, yeah. I said, I don't know you yet. He says, I see you're at our church. I said, well, yeah. You go with a Blankenship. I said, yeah, we're Blankenship. Yeah. He says, well, what do you guys got? So I showed him the catalog. He said, well, you go downstairs. You go and tell Vern Papazon, who's the plant manager, that I said to give you an order. So I went downstairs. And Vern said, Lance. He said, where are you from? I said, Amtech Tour. Oh, don't know anything about them. Where are they located? I said, well, Jim is from Zion Church. He says, well, my boss works there. He goes to church there. I said, yeah, I know. Anyway, he says, I'm just working on my summer order.
Just a second, I can tell
He
you.
says, here, take this pad. It's a yellow legal pad. He says, start writing. So I started to write. I wrote about 6 items. So I said, no, this is for a quote, right, Vern? I'm quoting this, right? He says, I did not say anything. I said, take an order. If you say that word one more time, you will not go get the order.
Somebody, please.
I said, oh, okay. So I shut up and covered 2 pages of writing of stuff. Walked out of there, went over to Jim and gave him the order. He said, "This is for a quote." I said, "Don't tell Susan. You'll cancel the order. It's an order." And Pat got all so excited. She said, "I knew something." She said, "I was praying for you today, Lance." He said, "That's the biggest order we've got since we got in business."
Right.
And it was started off just bang, bang, bang. And every place I went from then on, the Lord went before and just blessed us. USA, the United Space Alliance. My God, you can't get a bigger customer. Yeah. Lord, just and Pat, sometimes we have conversation. She says, the Lord continues to amaze us, Lance. She uses a lot of people. He uses a lot of people, but seems to use you a little more because you're a little more aware of them. I said, well, I like to be aware of it, but it was a dandy. It was about a $4,000 order.
Wow.
We were brand new in business. Yeah. Entertaining angels unawares. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the whole order, but it's a
We do on occasion and don't even know it, but that's okay.
Okay. That's better. You're fine. Tell me the story.
What story?
The Angels Unaware story.
Oh, this one. Yeah. I got mixed emotions about that one. But anyway,
You were eating in a restaurant.
I had driven by this restaurant many, many, many times. We lived there 11 years. And I kept thinking, every time I'm going the other direction, it's on the other side. I figure, one of these things are going to stop. I'm going to go over there and have that. And it just so happened, this one particular day, that it was raining out a little bit, low flying clouds, and I just decided, well, today'd be a good time. Went in, bought a newspaper, sat down at a table. There were a whole bunch of construction guys who think they're God's gift to women. And know it. They pick on the waitresses, something terrible. And these guys would really pick out on this waitress. And you could see she wasn't feeling good. Time of the month, I don't know. All I know is she wasn't feeling good. And she was resenting the things that they were putting, touching and patting, and she just wasn't receiving anything at all. And I could see these guys were really picking on her, and she was crying. Anyway, I'm sitting there, and the door opens, and there's a lot of tables, and there's nobody sitting. There's a lot of the tables. And I thought, the guy come over and says, "Hey, Fred, can I sit with you?" And immediately I thought, why is he bothering me? There's all these empty tables and chairs.
Yeah,
here.
and you want to be
I
alone.
don't know.
Yeah.
I want to read my paper, And then thought came, Angel Unaware. Oh, please sit down. Super duper nice guy. He'd been out on the lake with his boat. Wanted to do some fishing. And it wasn't fishing time. It was slightly rainy, and so he thought, well, he'd come back in and have a meal. So we sat and talked. His wife had died a year or two ago on that particular day, and he was a very lonesome guy and didn't have much to do anymore. And we just shot the breeze a little bit about hunting and just talking. And what the heck happened? Oh, I went up to pay my bill, and I said to her, I want to pay my bill. I want to pay his bill. She says, no, you don't. I says, I know I don't have to. I says, I told you I want to. She says, you don't have to. I says, So okay, so I want to pay. What
Take
part
my
of
money
this?
already, right?
What part of this conversation aren't you giving? Your tip depends upon me paying my bill and his bill. Well, I want you to know you don't have to. Okay, I don't care. I'm going to pay his bill. So she did. Well, I noticed I had spilled some jelly. I can do it, man. On my sleeve, and I went into the restroom to wash my hands and sleeve, and I come out. Oh, I told her. I says, "Hey, you know, I know you're having a rough time. If you want to make a gentleman, somebody feel good, go over and give that gentleman a hug and just tell him that you think, just tell him." And she says, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." So I went in and used the restroom. I come out, and they're both. And they were crying, and they were hugging one another. And I said, "I gotta get out of here."
Exactly.
So I got out of there. And every time I went by the restaurant, I figured, I'm gonna stop, see what happened. And finally, one day, I did. I stopped, and she was there. And she come over beaming, smiling. She says, "I was hoping you would stop someday." She says, "I kept thinking, I'd sure like to see you." And I says, "Well, I want to stop to see how you were doing. You let those guys get to you a little too much." And she says, "Well," she says, "I want you to know the rest of the story." And I says, "What's the rest of the story?" She said, "That gentleman you were talking with, he is the richest man in the colony. He don't owe nobody nothing. He owns it, everything.
Do you guys come
And
to replace the church?
the fact that you paid for his meal got to him."
Oh, okay.
And he cried. And I was crying because everybody was picking on me. Jesus, but between it all, we hugged. And he knew that I had a car, and it was the oldest car out in the parking lot. And it was an old beat-up thing, she said. He took me out that afternoon, and he bought me a car. Paid cash for it.
That's cool.
You just never know, Tammy.
Yeah.
Never know. No. Just never know. Yeah. Yeah, so. Anyway, you remember we were all coming in and we sat down for dinner.
Yes. Which restaurant though? Which restaurant?
It was on the boat.
Because we went to a different one each
When
night,
we were
didn't
in
we?
Disney
Okay.
World, we were on the boat.
Okay.
And somebody came along and, Doug went out and had a cigarette. He come back, he says, "The people that have pictures that are in the film room there, you should go because the pictures are going fast." And he and Mom, Dorothy, got into it. I don't think you probably were maybe far away.
Okay.
Anyway, it was a say, "Doug, why did you do that? We're sitting down to eat. You shouldn't do that to get people to go leave the table."
Oh.
And Doug got a little uptight. He said, "The pictures go fast, and the people, they want to go to get their pictures." So the pictures, and it went on, and it got a little bit. It got. And I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, "Okay, Lord, we've been here almost 2 weeks. We haven't had any problems. This is good. I gotta do something." So anyway, I said to Dorothy, I says, "Honey, what you eating?" I says, "I gotta go up to the room. I'll be back in a little bit." So I went up to the room and I got the Bible out. I started to read the Bible. And Rudy come and said, "Go to the top deck." I said, "I don't want to go to the top deck. You got to tell me 3 times before I do anything." Came again. Go to the top deck. "The wind's blowing. It's windy out there. There's rain. I don't want to go to the top deck. There's no reason for me to go to the top deck. I'm not going to the top deck." 3rd time. "Go to the top deck now." I got up, I walked up the stairs, went up to the top deck, started at the back of the boat, walked all the way around that boat up to the front, to the very front of the
Oh, you got
boat.
a bed upstairs. Yeah, you can bend upstairs if you want to do that. Nope, they can't.
And there he was, standing on the rail. I walked over to him. I walked over to him.
The new thing is that
He climbed down. He said, "Do I need to say anything?" I said, "Dave, Doug, it's okay. You don't have to say a word. Just come on, it's okay." Some things are best not told
it's
till
not a
certain
convenient thing.
times.
Okay.
Not even then, because if you got 6
But
patients,
if I hadn't
you gotta
gone,
give a report,
Yeah.
and you leave, and then you come back and you got 3
so
new
I try and
patients.
not pass on things. If he tells me 3 times, I figure the devil's not involved, so I can do whatever it is. But it really, he was special. He was really a special guy. I thought you had heard this story.
Well, I'm not.
That's why you have to record him and tell him.
I wish you get a better one because it's,
With
I
Paul-
can see your nose right up your
Went
nose.
with Paul and Ruben to Florida.
That's better.
And
Okay.
she says, "We're going to make it, okay, when are we leaving?" I said, "Well, we're going to be gone for a couple of weeks." "Oh, okay." And she says, "Well, how do you plan on doing?" "We're driving." "Oh, we're driving." "Oh, okay." So,
That was
we said,
Paula
"We're going to
saying
take it
that?
time." Yeah, and anyway, yeah, Paul and Ruben, they like the hamburger place that anybody could care for. I can't even remember the name of it. It's a big one. It's not McDonald's, it's the other one.
Burger King?
Burger King.
Okay.
They love Burger King. I hate Burger King. They love Burger King. Anyway, we start off the one morning, and we travel and we stop at it, it's
Oh, you're okay.
at the
about that.
burger place. So anyway, we go in and we eat a good meal. Then, you know, we go start driving and we tell them about the things we're going to see along the way. And the first thing come up is, "Where are we stopping for lunch?" "Burger King." I'm thinking to myself, this is not going to work out. Anyway, it comes lunchtime and we get to the Burger King. You know, and so we sit in there a little bit, then we go out, we drive around, look at a few things. So, "Where are we having supper?" "Burger King, yay!" Ruben and Paula. And I said, the second day, I said, "Now,
They serve breakfast too.
we're numbering off. This is a new machine. This is going to happen. Number 1 is the driver. Number 2 is Ruben. Number 3 is Paula. Number 4, Dorothy." And I get to pick breakfast tomorrow. Ruben gets his lunch tomorrow. Dorothy gets his that. And then we're going to go right today. So we all get our favorite restaurants. I'm telling you, we said it. So Paula picks up these little magazines at every place we stop.
Yeah.
"Hey, those hotel rooms rent for $17 for the night." I said, "Paula, it's by the hour." So we had more. Anyway, we can stop. Dorothy and I have a case like this. Our stuff for tomorrow is in there. Not all the luggage. We don't
Right.
bring every bit of luggage in every night. And Paul, Ruben come over and he says, "Lance, how come I'm taking all my luggage in and you taking only a little suitcase like
Yeah.
that?" I says, "Well, because I know what I'm wearing tomorrow." He says, "That right?" I said, "Well, of course." So anyway, they got to the point, they got educated pretty well. Late one night, we were in the middle of a hurricane. Literally.
Oh no. On the road?
Trees from, and back roads and lights out like crazy because of the lightning and stuff. And we had, I kept saying, "Ruben, help me find a gas station. The tank is getting showing no gas now." And we got it. And we were out there in the dark and the lightning and the thunder and that. And so coming down the road, and I says, I'm going to stop a car going the other way. So how far there is to a gas station around up, how far up ahead.
Right.
That late at night, it was around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the evening, dark as could be. And I flashed my lights, I waved my arm, put my arm out, and went stop, and she stopped. Which was one. This is one amazing. And we said, how far to the gas station? She said, I said, we're just about out of gas. She said, well, if you'll pull right around that corner, they're sitting there waiting for you. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's some scary stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, those two were something else. I told you, they just... to listen to them, you were sure they were going to kill one another.
Really?
Every night it was scream, yell, yell, scream. Anyway, the two of them, they were nice people. Paula thought that
And then I'll just have you
I was going to be an escort for
keep an
her.
eye on our guy. I mean, that's easy, and then I'll come.
I'm not an escort for anybody. Did Dorothy. I'll tell you. Anyway, Reuben, we saw a tornado on the water.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Reuben kept telling me, it's not a tornado, it's on water. I says, well, they have tornadoes on water too. No, they don't. And we this guy, he would argue with you just to argue.
Sounds like my job.
And I always knew when Paula was giving him a hard time. Because that's when he got led kind of nasty. Even though. Anyway, it was interesting. I don't know. Do not know. But anyway, it's interesting. Never know for the United Airlines out of Florida, where did I go to fly out of? Where Disney World is.
Orlando?
Yeah, I flew out of Orlando. Yeah. Anyway, I bought there's a little pocket stories. You know, the little ones. I could read one from going from Florida to to Michigan. I could read one of those. And it just so happened one day I had a couple in my hand, and I says, "Hey, I'm through with these. You got anybody could read these?" And she said, "Les, you've been holding out on me." I said, "What are you talking about, Marie?" And she says, "Well, I got a whole library. I got a couple drawers full of magazines. I'm the one lady that everybody switches their backs to." I says, "Oh, well, here, take these." Anyway, when Dorothy went with me one day, coming down the hallway, and here's Marie running, Les, come over, give me a hug and that. And Dorothy standing there, who's this? This is Marie, the librarian. Oh, what else did she give away? And Marie knew instantly she was in trouble and I was in trouble. I said, she doesn't come from behind
Nice.
the counter. You get trapped, you get caught. It doesn't matter. And anyway, we're going to go upstairs.
Yep. The Juno Pero Boys Club.
Juniper Sierra Boys Club.
Right. All right. So tell me this one.
Oh, I got to tell
Yeah,
you.
you know, you got to tell me again because this is for the audience.
Area D, please call 86996. Susan in Area D, please call.
So how'd you end up there?
86996. Thank you.
I took a bus, a Greyhound bus, got snowed in up in the Smoky Mountains for 4 days. You know, roads were closed because of the snow, and the Greyhound had to pay for our meals and our lodging. It was in the middle of winter and up there. There's nothing to do in the middle of winter up in the Sierra Mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And you were only 13, right?
13, 14.
And it wasn't a family trip.
All the way to Los Angeles. Yeah. Well, that was a long time ago. I don't know what I was thinking. You do. You know what you were thinking. You know every minute of what you were thinking. You were a good singer, or you were going to get a singer, and you were going to get your mom to be queen for a day. Yeah.
And so then you got home because how?
My dad had completely redone our boys' room, changed everything around. Yeah. Picked me up at the train station. Didn't say anything to me. Didn't say anything to me. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So newspapers.
That's a long story. You know about it anyway. Yeah, I know you do. Marilyn was a nice. My sister Marilyn was a nice lady. She really was. She really was. There were 4 girls. They all slept in one bedroom. Sounded like a zoo. And we didn't have hot water. We heated it on the stove. So when I could be the oldest, I got the last bath.
Oh.
Yeah, a tea kettle full of warmer water to warm the water up. No way, man. By the time my brother and I turned the outhouse over, I felt sorry about that for about 20 minutes. I did. We got on the fence with our feet behind it and pushed. It went over on the door. And the scream that came out of that door.
There was someone in there?
Yeah.
Oh no.
You didn't know until you pushed it.
Oh
It's
no.
too late. We ran all the way from 8 Mile Road to about 10 Mile Road before we quit running. That was bad. I often wonder who that was. I couldn't go back anywhere near that area.
It was Marilyn in there?
Huh?
Who was in there?
I don't know who it was.
Oh, okay.
We were in a different area. Yeah. Yeah. What are we waiting for?
We're waiting for, I think, transport
An
to come and
escort?
get you. I think so.
Yes, of course. Are we the only ones waiting in the line here now? Oh.